Good morning. Yes, so I will give you a point of view of the practitioner that's on the field where we are working in conflict area and in fragile states. And we'll discuss about more nutrition security. So before to go and to explain you how we implement nutrition security in this such of context, I just would like to remind you what is nutrition or what is undernutrition, and also what we mean about nutrition security. So on this slide is just undernutrition causal framework from UNICEF, that just to remind you that the undernutrition is caused by different causes, from the basic to the immediate, and the basic is more linked to the structural things, and the underlying causes is more linked for what is interesting about the poor access of sufficient, safe and nutritious food, also about the care practices, and don't forget about the access to basic services and the healthy environment. And all these causes lead to inadequate dietary intake and disease and lead to undernutrition. So just to remind you that there are different factors, not only food access, but also other factors that cause undernutrition. After just to be on the same board about what nutrition security is meaning, the World Bank defined nutrition security as the ongoing access to the basic elements of good nutrition, as a balanced diet, safe environment, clean water, adequate health care for all people, and the knowledge needed to care for and ensure a healthy and active life for household members. In the other words, nutrition security is an outcome of good health, healthy environment, as good care practices, and also food access. It will be important to know that, because after we will see how we could do nutrition security and how ACF, how is the approach of ACF on the field. So just quickly is the nutrition security framework that we designed. So I will not go deeper on these slides, but quickly that just to emphasize that the nutrition security is like a conceptual framework that can combine the multi-sectoral approach. As I said before, that undernutrition is not, there are multi-causes. So on this slide you can see that is a multi-sectoral approach, but also at multi-level scale. From the top to the treatment, through to the resilience. Just to remind some figures that Ruth you're talking about the impact of the conflict. So more than 1.5 billion of people face cycle of violence, weak governance and instability. And as you mentioned, that's more than, if you compare it to the other developing country, people living in fragile states are likely twice to be malnourished, and also they face problematic to access to natural disaster and safe water. So if I'm coming back to the undernutrition causal framework, as you can see, I just highlight that the fact that conflict will have also an impact about the cause of undernutrition, and at the end, we put more pressure about the nutrition status of the children and of the adults. Just to emphasize that there are limitations of access to sustainable resources, water and food. There are changes in daily work, care practices and well-being of people. Change in the consumption of safe dietary intake. Also disruption of markets, assets and income of households, and poor access to basic services and infrastructure. Saying that, it's for us, when we implement nutrition security, is to find the balance between the immediate response to the needs through direct action, as you can see on the top, but also to find the balance just to address straight on the underlying causes of undernutrition. is not one way to another one, because according to the conflict, we will have some stress that we have to find a balance between these two approaches. So for humanitarian action, it's difficult to say, okay, we will respond to immediate needs, but also we have to consider the underlying causes of undernutrition and try to establish more long-term initiative through multi-sectoral approach. Of course, it's a community-based approach that we are focused on, because as the basic causes are disturbed, it's quite tricky to act and to work with the government as it's destabilized. So we focus on the community or household approach. Okay, move down. Just to go more deeper about the balance between the two, the immediate response need and to address more long-term perspective, we consider that there are 3 stages. So the first one is to better understand the characteristic of the threats that people face and how these threats change as the conflict change also. And also it's important to analyze the food and nutrition insecurity causes and risk induced by chronic change. It can be done through different tools. As we have a nutritional causes analysis, the participatory cause vulnerability and risk, and the country risk analysis. The second stage is provide aid assistance to ensure that vulnerable people have adequate access to food as well as safe water and sanitation, screening and treating cases of acute malnutrition, and while providing care practices. And the last one, it's to incorporate some more long-term principles like the risk management, or consider the do not harm principle, that to take care about what we are doing will not influence in the long term, and to be conflict sensitive. So according to what we observe on the field, we can advise some recommendation. So it's the intervention have to be based about what the community build on. It's, you have already existing strategy that the affected community set up over the months or over the years. So it's just to build on what the community set up and to suggest appropriate interventions. So in this case of situation, the program has to be flexible, and you have also to consider that and to take the risk that even if we set up some long-term initiative, that this activity can be destroyed or disrupted during the next conflict. So at this case, you will come back to the immediate response needs. The other one, it's from the livelihoods perspective, is to combine programs that manage risk while addressing basic needs and basic access to services and protecting and strengthening household assets. The other one, it's also to consider the environment, because the conflict will have an impact about the natural resources. So environmental initiative is important to consider, and to improve the land, soil, and water management. As also the water resources are in some place as a source of conflict, we have to consider this point. Another point that is important is restoring confidence and contributing to social cohesion. So amongst community to improve the relationships and the communication, but also to improve the communication and the links between the local government and the government and the affected communities, and to try to strengthen this social cohesion. And also to work on empowerment and empowerment of women, as we discussed this in the morning. And the last point is the advocacy strategy. And for two perspectives is to ensure that humanitarian worker or other agency has access to beneficiaries, because in some conflict area we don't have direct access to beneficiaries, and also to guarantee that the affected people have access to basic services and living in a healthy environment. So I will leave like that.